guys! So if you watched my last video, you will remember that I was not feeling well last week. I had a sore throat and then a cough and then a really stuffy nose for a few days, so I was unable to film a speaking video last week, but I am feeling much better today, so it's time for my April wrap-up. The first book I finished in April was Hattie Big Sky. I talked about this in my March wrap-up, and as I predicted, I absolutely loved it. I gave it 5 stars out of 5, and I just really connected to it because it's about a girl younger than me who sets out to prove up on a homestead in Montana all by herself. And I have had ancestors who lived on homesteads and had tons of children in homesteads, and I've even had family that came from Montana. The book was funny and moving and touching and heartbreaking and just so good. There is a sequel and I really want to read it, but I don't really have access to it, so it might be a while. The next book I finished was The Fires of Heaven, number 5 in the Wheel of Time series by Robert Jordan. This is the 6th book in the series, which my brother has already given to me, but I probably won't get to it for several months because I have to focus on all of these books first. My rating of this book is pretty much exactly the same as the other 4 books. It's slow pacing and the writing is not the absolute best. Sometimes the dialogue is a little cheesy or repetitive, but the characters and the premise and the world are really interesting, and even though I'm only done with 5 books out of 14, I will still be continuing on with this series. I gave The Fires of Heaven 4 out of 5 stars. The next book I finished in April was The Friendship Doll. This is also by the author of Hattie Big Sky, and I guess the author got inspiration while doing research for Hattie Big Sky. In the early 1900s or so, Japan sent over, I think, 50 or so friendship dolls that are really beautiful, and this actually happened, and this was all before Pearl Harbor happened. And then when that did happen, some of the dolls were lost and people still don't know where they are today. So this book follows the journey of one of those dolls. At first the story and the writing was kind of cheesy, but by the end the stories of the girls that interact with the doll just get so much more heartbreaking, and it did end with a heartbreaking but still happy ending, and I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. As with Hattie Big Sky, I read The Friendship Doll at work. The next book I finished I also read at work, and that's Eliza's Journal by Kaylin Williams. I didn't know what this was about before picking it up, it just looked interesting, and it's basically about a girl in her high school years who spends her summer in the San Juan Islands, and she gets a job illustrating fossils and ancient animals, and there's a little bit of mystery involved, and there are lots of illustrations. The thing that bugged me about this book was that it was a diary, and one of my pet peeves about diary books is when they do not read as a real diary entry, like when there is too much accurate dialogue and facts. At least that's not what my diary entries look like. But it was still an interesting, entertaining read, so I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. The last book that I finished in April was William Shakespeare's The Empire Striketh Back. This is the sequel to Verily A New Hope, and if you didn't hear about this series, basically it's the Star Wars saga written in iambic pentameter, and it's really funny. It sticks pretty close to the movie, but it adds in a few soliloquies and side scenes, and if you're a fan of either Shakespeare or Star Wars, I definitely recommend you check this series out because it is totally worth it. So I only read 5 books in April, 1 less than in March, but I am now 17 books ahead in my 2014 reading challenge, and I know some of you are confused about how that can be possible because you have actually asked me how that is possible, and basically most of these books are really short and quick, and that is how. And also at the job where I do read, our busyness depends on people coming in, so there is a lot of time to read on some days. Today is May 7th and I have already finished another 3 books. So my guess is I will be pretty successful in May. If you follow me on Goodreads, you already know the books that I've read in May. And the ones that I hope to read next this month include the 2nd volume of Start Here, put together by Book Riot. After I read Start Here, I am finally planning to read my collection of Dave Eggers books. What is the What? The Wild Things, You Shall Know Our Velocity, and Zaytoon. So that was my reading month for April and what I hope to read for the rest of May. If you've read any of these books, let me know what your thoughts are. And if you haven't, but own them, you should read them too, so that we can talk about them. I hope you're having a lovely spring or fallish winter, whatever it is in Australia or wherever you live, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!